So yesterday I had a session with a friend of mine who's doing like energy kind of work, and it was quite amazing. So she's been doing this technique developed by Barbara Brennan. I had no expectations. I know this person from a cab session, and we exchanged a couple of sessions together, and yeah, like a really sweet soul. So she invited me into her practice space. I lay down on the mat, but you could also lie on a table, and she just started some music. Now she started to touch me first on my feet, and she just kept touching me on the feet, and I felt like the energy was just streaming through me. Like her hands were cold in the beginning, and I was like, my mind was like, "Oh, her hands are cold. Aren't they supposed to be warm? You know, with the energy and stuff?" But it was so stupid. Anyway, like this kind of thinking. Anyway, like she kept touching my feet, and I just kept like, it was like, because I was rooted here in the feet, the energy was like going throughout my whole body, like and I felt myself just being in the body, like really being present in the body physically. And then she started to go up, to feet, knees, belly, heart, the head. And whenever she was touching me, it was a very interesting sensations that started to come. It's like all of a sudden, so I have my physicality, and all of a sudden, it's like, imagine you have those Russian dolls, where you have like a doll and you open it and there's another one. You open, there's another one, there's another one, and another one. And it keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. It was like that. It was exactly like that, because when she was touching me, it was as if I was sinking through sheets, through layers of my body, like going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I would feel the heaviness of a sheet. So we have different kind of bodies, right? We have the physical body, the mental body, emotional body, energetic body, the bliss body. I don't know the names, all the names by name, but in yoga they're called the 5 sheets, right? So you can Google that. So basically I was just feeling like all these layers, all these sheets, and I was feeling like, whoa, this one's heavy, or whoa, this one's like very light, this one's very like obstructed, or not like, it was very new to me. It was so subtle. And the more that the session progressed, it was like my body was being melted by butter. And so at a certain point I started to see this visual, this image, and I saw like a being in front of me, like above me. It was like above me, and I was like, oh shit, like something's gonna happen. So there was such beautiful music being used, and it was like sound healing. If sound healing, I don't know anything about sound healing, but I can imagine this was sound healing, because there's such beautiful, enveloping, embracing music that just allowed you to drop further and deeper into yourself. So at certain points, when she went through everything, my body was moving a bit, and there was a bit of energy activation, energy dancing. And then she went and she started to work on the layers, but she wasn't touching me anymore. She was touching me on some points, but she was just like, without touching me, working on stuff. Afterwards, she told me, it's like we're doing like an energetic operation. We're cutting something, and then we're opening it, cleaning the wound, like taking away what's not needed, or putting something that's needed, and then closing it off, cleaning it. Yeah, it's like, I was like, really? It's like an energetic operation. And you know what's funny? There was this moment that I remember where she was doing something on my belly here. So here I have like a little lump of fat that's been accumulating for a couple of, I don't know, a couple of years, 3, 4 years, 5 years. And like the energy, like she was doing something, and I felt this, the energy would like come together, contract, and it would go to that place, and my belly was like inside out. It was all happening involuntarily, like something was happening there, and I felt like this glass shattering, breaking, like, and there was this spaciousness, this openness. It's like, ah, yes. And then this was really so deep. So she was doing something on my heart, like here on this area, and on my third chakra, because I had told her before the session. She asked me, well, what things do you want to work on? I was like, yeah, sometimes, I'm not, I can procrastinate with my learning and with my study and with the things that I want to do. So on that, and I said something else. I don't remember what I said, but she worked on this one, but on this one, like, I felt it so deep, like it was like my heart space, like a vase of fullness, empty fullness, and it was like reaching in, and all of a sudden there was like this exploration. What is in here? What's in here? And all of a sudden, I felt like this heaviness, this energy form. And I started to realize, to feel she was trying to pull it out. And I was like, whoa, it wants to be pulled out. There's a movement to pulling it out. And I noticed how, by being neutral in the whole situation, whatever arises, you can allow it to happen. But if there's a position that I take, like I want this to happen, I don't want it to, I don't want this to happen, there's like the energy cannot flow fully. So at certain points, I was lying, and while she was touching me, and I would feel certain layers, there was like a hurt, especially when she touched my shoulders. There was like memories from the past, like nostalgia, like deep, forgotten memories, echoes of the past that came. And when they were coming, what was so beautiful was, it was like she embraced me, and she allowed space for that to open up. And in that opening up, I wanted to cry, right? The energy wanted to release. But somewhere there was a thought, a position of, I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry unless it's needed. And I saw it so clearly for myself, like, it's not okay to cry unless it's needed. I can cry, I've cried in the past, but it was mostly when there was like a breaking down of something, or a situation that was culminating and then crying occurred. But sometimes you just want to cry very casually, and I can feel welling it up, but it's like a part of me wants to stay strong. It doesn't want to fall into that vulnerability, because it's like, it's seen as, when I am in that vulnerable space of crying, of just letting it all pass, it feels so wonderful to feel that depth, to feel the emotions flow, to feel yourself express, to feel yourself let go, to shed it, to express it, to breathe in and breathe out fully. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, that's done with. Let's go to a happy state. I don't want to stay too long there. So whenever it comes, okay, but I don't want to stay there for too long. So it's like, I want to get away from it as fast as possible. And so it's like, I can be intimate with it, I can surrender to it, but I still have a thing about what I really want is to feel happy, to feel high, to feel exuberant, right? And those states, like, they can come, but I don't want them to last too long, or I don't want them to invite them too often, right? Just like sporadically. And it's a limitation. It's a limitation in my self-image, or who I think I am, how I should be, how I shouldn't be. I mean, perhaps I'm wrong, but it feels like that. in a way, it's like, it's just showing me that it's an unwillingness to feel deeper, to sink deeper into life. Yeah. Because then you would have to acknowledge, to see, to, yeah, to relate to it all. Yeah. So I know I have to work on that. I'm gonna investigate that. That's a theme that's been coming up for me. And then when she was at my heart, and there was like this energy, like these thoughts came, like, what is this? It feels like something is there. Like there were like all kinds of thoughts. And then there was just like, okay, don't lose yourself in thoughts. And then the energy was just pulling out, and it was just release. And all of a sudden it's like I felt myself, and I realized it's like I smiled inside. It's like I had this complete open space in my body, in my beingness, in my awareness, in my sense of body awareness. And it was now completely one field that's completely open and completely connected and whole. And I realized, like, whoa, I feel myself completely. And there's a peace, a settling down. And before, like looking back just a couple of minutes ago, I realized it's the same feeling, but there was an obstruction, there was a heaviness, there was something that was covering up this feeling of wholeness. And now this thing, it was like, whew, and now there's this wholeness. And like, I just felt so myself, like coming back into myself, in a very profound way. Like I had not expected this at all, because I've done so many camp sessions, I've done so many meditations and bufo and all kinds of things, and it's always, you get altered state of consciousness, you get a high in energy, but it's like you always have a baseline, right? You go through all these things, you go up and down, here and there, but then you go to the baseline. As time passes by, you go back to baseline, and the baseline is how you usually feel, right? How you feel normally, what your normal state of being is. And all of a sudden I realized, like, this freedom, this inner expansion, it's always been there. I remember it being there, but somewhere there was like a feeling of, that was obstructed, or something covered it up. And wow, like I just feel such an opening. And then going home, I felt it, like having conversation, I just felt coming from that opening, coming from that wholeness, just like having a conversation, having really like intense conversations with, like I was having a conversation with somebody, and it was like really deep, really intense, and I just was able to stay in my wholeness. Today I woke up, and like I noticed there's a shift. There's such a profound shift in feeling well, in feeling whole, in feeling myself. Yeah, so grateful for it. So wonderful. At certain points, I saw like this purple violet light coming into me and filling up my body. At the end, I saw like imagery. I saw like a soulmate connection, a twin flame connection. I saw like situation at home. Like I saw a couple of things. It was so pleasant, so wonderful. It's like you just come there, and you get melted to butter, and just melt down, and you melt down into yourself. And in yourself there's just like this radiant smile of wholeness, of aliveness, equanimity and joy. But it's a very calm joy. It's a very peaceful joy. And yeah, I'm so grateful for it. I had not expected it. I will definitely do some more sessions about, like, with her. She told me, yeah, you can do it. You can do them quite often. So I wonder. Yeah, and like I felt her presence also, the facilitator. I felt her presence the whole time. I felt like this goodness. It was like as if for the first time ever in my life, I felt and saw her in the goodness. So instead of from my memory and like what we've been through and how I saw her and relating to her from that, it was all of a sudden I felt like, wow, this her presence of goodness being there. And I just like such a like wow, like recognition. It's funny, when I came and we hugged, I was hugging and I was hugging her very, very deeply, but I felt there was it's like a break, like the break is on, so you don't go completely in it. It's just a break. And then afterwards, at the end, when I was hugging her, I hugged her, and there was just this feeling of wholeness, embracing. I felt like a child again. Honestly, I felt like I was small, a child, and just hugging somebody with sincerity, with no holding back, with no idea about, with no meaning, with no context, just embracing, holding, from a place of, yeah, I cannot describe it. I want to say wholeness or innocence, but it's something like, it's like this aliveness, this wave of aliveness, this life spark that's just like emanating, and the aliveness is felt in the body, and it's just this aliveness, like just completely being with whatever is. Yeah, so grateful for this session. I can recommend this modality to anybody. Like I'm eager to find out more about it, because it was, wow, so subtle, so subtle. Like as the session progressed, her hands became warmer and warmer and warmer, and my mind was like, oh, her hands are getting warmer, so yeah, the energy's working. The energy's definitely working. But throughout the whole time, like so peculiar. Like you're there, and all of a sudden, like you drop into like this other layer of yourself. It's like, this is like the 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 boundary of your physicality. It's like all of a sudden you feel like you're sensing like this layer, this inner layer, or this other inner layer, or like these different layers. It's like your boundary is limited to that energetic layer or emotional layer, or like any kind of those layers. And yeah, like it's so wonderful to become aware of that. I'd never so subtly been aware of that and felt it so profoundly, and saw how, whoa, all these sheets of bodies are there, and they all have either memory or content in them. And yeah, to feel that, to feel the expansion, the lightness, the aliveness. I don't know, yeah, it was like like a surgery, like an energetic surgery. It was yeah, amazing. I wonder how we'll progress. Yeah, today I feel very different. I feel it. There was a situation this morning that had happened, and it was very unexpected, and I felt this sadness, and I wanted to cry, and there was a regret. So somebody had left. It was very unexpected. felt like my child, my inner child, like this reaction, like, oh no, they left. Like this crying and this, this deep sadness. And then I was just being aware of that from the wholeness. I just closed my eyes and realized it's just a reaction to what was, an interpretation of what is, and I can either stay in this or go back into the flow and let it flow. And I put my attention on it, and I was feeling it, and I just said, can love heal this? Like an inquiry. This can now be healed by love. And when I said that, like the energy started to move, and there was like an energy in my heart, and all of a sudden looking at that situation, it was embraced in love. And it was like, it's okay. It's okay. Life goes on. Also, I've been listening to this audio by Mei Lin, Messages from Love, or Message from Love. It's such a beautiful, beautiful message. Honestly, just put it on, close your eyes and listen to it. I was so sensitive to it. It touched me very deeply on a lot of spots. And like so much is changing, so much is falling into place. I guess going from what was and staying in what is, and allowing change to occur. Like the pain, the suffering, when things fall away, when things start to change. It's only as real as you believe in the concreteness of things. If you don't see how alive everything is, how everything has a flow, how everything moves and changes all the time, and how who you are is not dependent on anybody or anything. It's just a certain form of experience, but the experience can change. And like going through those experiences, being okay with those experiences, that capacity. I don't know if I'm right about this, but it feels like a capacity to feel, a capacity to not avoid feeling whatever's happening. And the second thing is not get stuck in the feeling. Allowing the feeling fully in. Not resisting it, not making it bad, but giving it space to nurture you, to teach you, to make you feel alive. There's a story that I really, really, really loved by Dio, Dhieyo. He has like a channel, and he's like this Indian guy. I think he's Indian, I don't know, but he told this story in his channel. I thought it was so wonderful. And it was about, so he shares a lot of very practical and very inspirational things to me. And he shared this story about how, when you have water and the water is streaming, the water is streaming, and then there's an obstacle in front of the water, right, like a rock. So the water goes to the rock, and then it goes around it. It changes direction. Right? It goes further, keeps going up further and further and further. And then there's a mountain. So again, goes towards the mountain, and then it finds its way through it or around it and goes into another direction. It's like being redirected. So it keeps going like this. And every time it's collecting minerals, right? It's like absorbing whatever's there and it's carrying it with it. And at a certain point, the water arrives at its end destination, right? Like for us, like our purpose, where we are, where we need to be, and it settles. And it's just there still. And then beings, people, animals, whatever, they can come, and the water is enriched by minerals, and they can drink the water filled with nutrition, right? So it's like every experience, every obstacle, if you use it, if you see it as something that can enrich you, that can teach you, that you can be transformed by, and allow that transformation to open you up to the experience of life, to the dimension and the magic and beauty of life. Like at a certain point, you will be at a point where people, they will see in you what you've lived through, and you will be able to, by just being yourself, by sharing your experience, by sharing what you know, sharing who you are, you will be able to touch them, or challenge them in ways in which they need for their own growth. I love this quote by Anthony DeMello that says, "The only way people can help each other is by challenging their beliefs," right? Because in essence, nobody can do really anything for anybody else if they're not willing, right? It's like David Hawkins also talks about it. He says, whenever you're hearing information and you have an intention to change, transform, you have an intention, right? The information that you hear, it becomes transformational. But if you don't have that intention, if you're not really interested, if you're not really focused or intentioned, the energy can be just passed through. It can just become knowledge that you know, but it doesn't do anything. It isn't transformative. So yeah, I don't know why I shared all that, but it just came out. I'm so looking forward to going to Bali. Honestly, you know, when you've been living life in a certain loop, it's like a song you're repeating over and over again, you realize at a certain point, I want to skip to the next one. Or I want another playlist. And I have that feeling now. That's my cue.